Murkatta, the one who walks without a head void, tales Nepal. People in some parts of Nepal don't like to talk about certain things openly, not because they don't believe in them, but because talking about them feels like an invitation. Murkatta is one of those things. It isn't written down anywhere. It isn't mentioned in public. But people know where it walks. And more importantly, they know when not to be there. This story comes from a man who returned to his village after spending several years away. He didn't grow up believing much in spirits. He always assumed the warnings he heard as a child were meant to scare people into staying indoors after dark. That belief changed one evening, on a path he thought he understood. The village rested on a hillside, surrounded by terraced fields and patches of forest. There was an old footpath that cut through the fields, past a narrow section of trees, and led toward a suspension bridge. During the day, people used it without thinking. After sunset, they avoided it. That evening, the man's bus broke down before reaching the village. Rain had been falling on and off, and the sky was already dark. Walking the main road would take too long, so he chose the footpath instead. He told himself it was just another shortcut. As he walked, the air felt heavier than usual. The ground was damp beneath his feet, and the smell of wet soil hung in the air. At first, the night was loud with insects. Then, suddenly, it wasn't. The sound stopped all at once, as if the night itself had gone quiet. That was when he noticed the footprints. Bare footprints in the mud ahead of him. Uneven, slightly distorted, as if the person walking had been unbalanced. They led forward along the path. Until they didn't. The footprints ended abruptly, as though whoever made them had vanished. He slowed down and looked ahead. Near the edge of the forest, he saw a figure standing still. From a distance, it looked like a man wearing dark village clothes. The posture was calm, almost ordinary. But something about the shape felt wrong. As his eyes adjusted, he realized what was missing. There was no head. His mind tried to correct what he was seeing. He told himself it was a trick of darkness, a shadow formed by trees and fog. He blinked and looked again. The figure had moved closer. That was when he noticed something hanging from its hand. Something round. Something with hair. The realization came slowly. Like a thought his brain didn't want to finish. The figure was carrying its own head. The Murkatta did not rush. It did not make a sound. It walked forward with slow, deliberate steps, as if it had all the time in the world. Fear flooded his body, urging him to run. But a memory surfaced, a rule he had once heard whispered by elders. If you run, it follows. If you react, it notices. If you acknowledge it, it remembers you. So he pretended he hadn't seen it. He stepped off the path slightly and turned away, lowering his head as if adjusting his shoe. His heart felt loud enough to give him away. The Murkatta walked past him. The air around him turned cold. He smelled damp earth and old cloth. He felt the presence pass close enough to make his skin tighten. And then he saw the face. The eyes were open. They weren't staring forward. They weren't staring down. They were moving sideways, watching him. The Murkatta continued toward the suspension bridge and disappeared into the darkness beyond it. The man stood still for several minutes before forcing himself to walk home. He didn't look back. He never spoke about what he saw. But the encounter didn't end there. In the days that followed, he heard footsteps outside his house at night. He noticed muddy prints near his door that vanished by morning. Sometimes, when he closed his eyes, he saw a body standing motionless in the dark. Villagers noticed he had changed. He avoided certain paths and never walked alone after sunset. When asked why, he only said that some encounters don't end when you survive them. Some follow you instead. People say Murkatta doesn't kill everyone it meets. Sometimes it only marks them. Years later, another traveler walked that same footpath at dusk. They noticed footprints that ended suddenly. They saw a figure standing ahead. A body, upright, still. This time, it wasn't carrying a head. Because some believe Murkatta does not always lose its head. Sometimes it finds a new one.